Hey ladies and gents, welcome back. This is going to be part 2 of What If Naruto Had an Ancient Summoning Jutsu. So, with that being said, we'll do a brief recap. I think it's been like 3 days or something like that since I uploaded part 1, just so you guys can get a bit of a reminder of what happened in the last part, where Naruto pretty much summoned his big rhino friend, found out that it has like healing properties, and Naruto ended up actually training with him over like a few years. And we're pretty much about to start the Bell test, where Naruto was placed on the same team as in the original, with Sasuke, Sakura, Kakashi, and obviously Naruto being on the team. So they're about to start the Bell test, and with that being said, let's jump right back into the What If itself. So with that, the Bell test would begin. Everybody would rush off into the forest and hide, including Naruto in this What If, and everybody would pretty much just be sitting there with Kakashi reading his book, waiting for somebody to make their first move. And the first person to actually do it isn't Naruto, it's actually Sasuke. So this fight would go exactly as it was in canon, and Sasuke would actually impress Kakashi, but obviously he wouldn't be able to take the bells or do anything like that, and he would eventually, get defeated by Kakashi, and Sakura would come out because of, Kakashi's genjutsu, and she sees Sasuke, in that state of, near death kind of a thing, like she did in the original. She screams, and Kakashi finds her location. But, as Kakashi goes to try and knock her out, something stops him in the middle of the way. Out of the corner of his eye, he sees something quite interesting, but he isn't actually able to, dodge out of the way because his reaction speed isn't good enough. He sees Naruto down on all fours with some weird force. Maybe he doesn't have a Sharingan out yet, so he can't really see exactly what it is, but it seems to be some sort of force generating around Naruto's feet, and Naruto propelled himself towards Kakashi and actually headbutt him in the side, just sending him flying away from Sakura. Now, Sakura would thank Naruto, a little bit, she still doesn't really care, and then she cries and tries to find Sasuke, still thinking that he might be dead, not even realizing that it's a genjutsu yet, because Sakura kinda, I don't know what to say about her, she's a little weird in a lot of ways. But she goes off and tries to find Sasuke, while Naruto would continue his fight with Kakashi. So, now Kakashi, realizing that he can't react to Naruto's speed if he used whatever that ability was, takes out his Sharingan and begins trying to observe exactly what it is Naruto was doing. And when Naruto once again drops down onto all fours, and one of his weird fighting stances, at least in terms of what Kakashi is used to, because he's fighting more like a beast than an actual human, he actually sees that Naruto is using wind chakra around his feet to increase his speed and be able to pretty much run faster and everything like that. Now, with Kakashi seeing this, he notes that Naruto actually has really good chakra control for what his age is, and that's an ability that not even somebody like Asuma has, and that he might actually have to take this fight more seriously than he even anticipated, and he decides to go all out against Naruto, putting away his book as well. Now, he pulls out a kunai, and Naruto and Kakashi would begin facing off. Now, with his Sharingan, he can see Naruto's massive chakra pool, and he sees more and more chakra slowly begin flowing from the, all around Naruto's body as it begins more and more compact into Naruto's feet as the wind chakra just gets more and more, packed, so Naruto's trying to amplify his speed to an even greater extent. Kakashi sees this, and obviously it's not going to be like a Dragon Ball situation where it's I'm going to let you power up your most powerful attack or transform or stuff like that. No, Kakashi's not really going to do that. He immediately charges towards Naruto, who quickly dodges to the side, elbowing Kakashi, sending him back a few meters, before then launching towards him with another headbutt, seeming as if there was some sort of wind chakra that's coming out of Naruto's head as well, as Kakashi noticed it last second. It almost seemed to form some kind of horn or something like that, and it actually did do a good amount of damage to Kakashi, who got sent flying into a tree, falling down to the ground onto his knees. He looks up towards Naruto now and realizes that Naruto's just trying to beat the shit out of him. He's not even trying to take the bells or anything like that, because with that speed, he could have easily done it. And Naruto would retreat for a second after this, and literally just disappears from Kakashi's vision with a smoke bomb and just kinda leaves. Kakashi is standing there in the clearing and doesn't really know what to do at this point, but Naruto does. Naruto had gone over to where Sasuke and Sakura are, and he began talking with them and is trying to devise a plan to be able to easier, take the bells, because Kakashi is actually a lot faster than what he was expecting, and doesn't really want to just, take the bells, because he still wants to have a decent fight in this. And he doesn't really know what the point of it is, because, there's 3 of them and 2 bells. That really makes no sense. He's never heard of a 2-man team before, so, he'd be a little bit sus of that, so he decides that, he'd actually do it this way instead. So, Naruto would then exit out of the clearing after telling Sasuke and Sakura the plan, and he once again charges at Kakashi. Now, Naruto isn't using anywhere as near as much wind chakra in his feet as he was earlier, and therefore is a lot slower because this is more close to his base speed rather than like a chakra amped kind of thing. So he and Kakashi would begin exchanging in a series of, little taijutsu bouts, with Naruto actually using a series of headbutts, kicks, and normal punches, actually pretty much using his full body to his advantage rather than pretty much just his arms and stuff like that. And with this actually happening, so as their fight continues, it becomes very clear to Kakashi that it doesn't really seem that Naruto is going all out here, and it's more of a distraction than anything else. But as he thinks that, he feels something grab his leg. He tries pulling up as quickly as he can, but it's an iron grip, and he looks down to see a hand that actually popped out of the ground, and he is stuck there now. Now, Naruto grabs him and actually restrains him in, the rest of the way, just making it so that he can not escape or anything like that. And Sakura then comes out of seemingly nowhere, just kind of feet away from Kakashi, and just grabs the bells from him and gives one to Sasuke while she keeps the one for herself and doesn't give one to Naruto, obviously, because that's just what Sakura does as a character. Naruto looks at this and says that no, that's fine, I guess, it doesn't really matter, I'll just go back to the academy. And with Naruto actually saying this, Kakashi decides that yes, that was a good enough show of teamwork for them to be able to move on and actually become his Genin squad. So, with that actually happening, that means that they would start their D-rank missions. And those would go pretty much exactly the same as they would in canon, and nothing really too much would change about them. And they would still get bored of them rather quickly and ask for a higher ranking mission. So, with them asking for this higher rank mission, Hiruzen would eventually be like, okay, fine, and decide to give them a C rank mission to guide a bridge builder named Tazuna back to the Land of Waves. So, that mission would begin, and it starts off pretty similar to, the original canon. Naruto still wouldn't notice the puddle. He's not he doesn't have chakra sensing, at least not yet. Foreshadowing or something like that. But he doesn't really notice anything about the puddle. Chunin brothers attack, they manage to seemingly kill Kakashi, and Naruto and Sasuke both take on one of the Chunin brothers respectively and actually manage to completely incapacitate them before Kakashi comes back out, congratulating his team on, the victory. And Naruto actually tells Kakashi that he noticed that he didn't actually die and just used a smoke bomb kind of thing and escaped. So he decides to, tell Kakashi that, and Kakashi's like, oh, not bad, Naruto, not bad. You're always aware of your surroundings. Cool, cool, cool. So the next part of the mission would pretty much just be them walking and, just kind of doing that. And eventually they are almost at Tazuna's house, but the mist seems to get thicker. This obviously means that Zabuza is about to arrive. And when he does so, everybody ducks under the sword, and the beginning of the fight would go exactly the same. Kakashi would go and begin fighting with him. He would eventually get trapped inside of the water prison, just like he does in the original, and this leaves the rest of his team to try to be able to, free him and get, find a plan to be able to defeat Zabuza. Naruto makes many shadow clones, and they begin charging out across the water towards Zabuza, and the original Naruto is somewhere, but we don't know that yet, and neither does anybody else, and they actually think that the original Naruto is charging out along with all of the clones. Now, these clones would pretty easily be able to take down Zabuza's water clone, and that means that they would quickly get to the actual Zabuza himself, and actually because of Naruto's strength being pretty much on par with Kakashi in this what if, that means that he would pretty easily be able to get, Zabuza to take his hand out of the water prison, releasing Kakashi. Kakashi and Zabuza would begin fighting a little bit, and eventually it would reach the point where Zabuza was about to actually, get out and escape, but something actually happens. This is where the original Naruto comes out. He was hiding pretty much in the forest, just charging up his chakra to the absolute limits, and this is where he charges out, going faster than even Kakashi can see with his Sharingan eye, and absolutely speed blitzing Zabuza at this point, sending him flying across the water with a hole in his chest from the kick that Naruto just gave him. Now, Zabuza dies. Like, he ain't living past that, and with Haku, watching pretty much from the forest as well, seeing this, he gets absolutely enraged, and he charges at Naruto now. Naruto looks up, seeing the absolutely, enraged Haku, because, that's kind of like his entire life purpose. He gets those, massive speed moments whenever Zabuza is about to die, and it's kind of like one of those things, like getting in the way of Kakashi's Chidori kind of a thing. So he charges at Naruto at this point, and sends him flying down into the water. Now, Naruto actually does take a pretty decent amount of damage from this hit, and Haku actually thinks he just straight up killed Naruto, along with Kakashi and everybody else, because they don't really know what Naruto's capable of. Everybody just kind of thinks he died, because nobody really saw Haku even move, because of just how fast he was. Now, Kakashi would begin trying to fight with Haku, but we're gonna go with the original statement that Haku was actually stronger than Zabuza, and he actually retains that massive speed boost he gets whenever he needs to protect Zabuza and stuff like that. He actually retains that, and he is absolutely dominating Kakashi at this point, and he actually gets to the point where he takes out the ice mirrors, and he is absolutely shitting on Kakashi. And Sasuke would begin trying to help him, but Haku ain't having it, and with how enraged he is, he's not going to be taking it easy on them and not trying to kill them. He is going for the kill with each and every attack. Now, this is where Naruto would once again emerge from the water, perfectly fine and healed, with a giant rhino standing next to him that would soon charge at the ice mirror and break it with a single hit of its horn. The horn would shatter through the ice mirror, and this is actually the ice mirror that Haku was in. This means that Haku gets sent flying out of it into the other mirrors, which he actually ends up shattering through as well, and gets sent flying over to the shore where Sakura and Tazuna would be. Now, Haku would barely manage to sit up from this. He has a small, hole in his stomach because of the rhino's horn, obviously speaking, and he looks up towards the, giant behemoth that is above him before he gets stomped out by it, and Naruto would desummon it. And this obviously leads a few questions from, Kakashi and the rest of his team, which Naruto would quickly explain before using the rhino, once again summoning it, and using it to heal everybody around him, including himself, for any damage he still actually had. But that's where I'm going to leave this part off. So I'll see you guys in part 3.